But I mean, the shirts look great. The Halloween ends with the red. It was red, right, or orange?
Yeah, and he's just standing there. Yeah,
That's a sick shirt, man.
yeah, Kyle did a great job, man.
That's awesome.
And we didn't have a lot to go by, unfortunately. It was a whole mess trying to get that done.
Isn't that always the case, though?
Yeah, it usually is, but this year was even worse, which whatever. I mean, we got through it and I'm grateful. It was down to the wire. Like,
did you guys, I know that for Halloween 2018, you got a script, right?
Right. So 2018, we got the script and we got images of Michael in like March, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we still kind of came down to the wire because we had some last minute changes on the Osborne design. For Kills, we didn't have a script. It took a while to get images, but I already knew everything was going to happen. I know you and I had talked around that time because I had gone on, or we talked last year, but I'd gone on the set,
right.
All that stuff. And then, but we knew what was going on, but that came down to the wire too. But we got images for Halloween Kills in June, if I remember correctly, of last year. And we were able to get everything out by September. We didn't get final images for Halloween Ends. Like, we had already seen some images. We were talking to them, but we didn't get the high res final ones. And we didn't get that many until end of July, early August.
Wow.
And we had to release it in 4 weeks, and we had to come up with designs and get them approved, which, again, people don't realize, like, you have to get this stuff approved by the studio. And there's like 4 studios that have to look at this stuff. And as I was telling you before, we didn't have images right away. So I was talking to producers and stuff because luckily I know a bunch of people in different camps, a few of the producers and other people. So I'm like, look, what's going on in this movie? Give me some context. I'm assuming there's a showdown. I'm assuming, like, and we can talk spoilers here, right? I'm assuming.
Of course, yeah, let's go. We want to go anything you want to talk about.
So I'm like, I'm assuming there's a big showdown, and they would be like, well, there is, but it's different. And I'm like, what does that mean? I can't put different on a t-shirt. I don't know what you're saying.
That ain't gonna sell.
So I'm like, you need to give me some images. And with Halloween Kills, there was trailer images, like, him in front and on the house, and he's coming out in fire and stuff. But they're like, well, we don't really know what to show you. And so the main studio was like, we don't really know what to give you. We have all these images, but they all have to be approved by this other studio before we give them to you. I'm like, well, let me see what you're looking at. Like, I need to know some visuals. So they handpicked a few. We looked at them, and I said, okay, I think those will work. I'm like, is that all you got? And I was seeing pictures of Corey and pictures of the Scarecrow mask and pictures of all the stuff, him in the sewer, the house, Lori. But I saw pictures of Lori fighting him. But I was like, and I knew about the imposter thing going on, but I didn't know if that was the imposter in the kitchen. I was looking for the fingers. We had some pictures with him with all fingers, no fingers. So I'm like, what's going on? But I see Lori in the blue shirt, and I'm like, well, that's rad. And I already kind of knew where we needed to take this.
And this is in July, you said?
This was we saw initially the images in like early mid-July, and we didn't get the final ones to work off of until end of July, early August, I think it was.
And these are the ones you're talking about.
Yeah, so I told Justin and I had a long talk about it. I said, I think this is where we need to go with it because we didn't have a trailer at that point, and we barely had any images. And he and I were already on board. He was already on board with what he wanted to do. But I'm like, I think, and I sketched it out and I even composited it. And now normally Justin just pretty much does it all for the most part. But in this case, I was like, here's what we got to work with. I think we can do this. So I sent him a mock-up. And then he took it from there. He added the house in the background. He did some other things because that's when the trailer was released. The trailer wasn't even out yet. So he does his thing. And then we give Kyle all the, the images, and we showed Kyle what Justin was working on, even though those styles are very different. And then Kyle, we knew he wanted to reprise the long sleeve. So he,
that's my favorite probably. I love that.
Thanks. And again, we wanted to do some different things. Of course, he came up with the cool stabby one and my favorite one where it says ends in the red, and it's actually him in the sewer looking up.
That's a sick shirt.
And then we wanted Yannick to do one just like he did in the Kills. We were trying to mirror kind of what we'd done on purpose. And so instead of having him, obviously with the fire, it's him in front of that door because we knew that door was Lori's house, and we knew enough that it would be not in the movie so much, but like you'd recognize it. It wasn't some random door, right? Mm-hmm. So we kind of gave him that note. He did that. So this is a mad dash within, maybe 2 to 3 weeks where. And
you're getting just like sketches back?
Well, in most cases, Yannick sent, I think, a sketch, but Kyle kind of just works to a final image. And if there's an issue I have with it, he can change it then, but it's not even just a sketch. It's like, here's the design. I'll be like, perfect. Or I'll be like, tweak this or change that. And then, okay, I will say this. And I'm very grateful for the position we're in, and I'm thankful that we had the opportunity, but it was coming down to such the wire where we have literally 3 studios to go through. There's Blumhouse, there's Universal, there's Trancas, who owns the rights to Michael. And if we use Lori on anything, Jamie's got to approve her likeness. Wow. And unfortunately, there was a little bit of a not miscommunication, but it was, when you're dealing with certain people at studios, it's hard to try to make sure people are getting it, because there's so many people that have to look at it.
Yeah.
I just said, look, I'm sending it to Blumhouse because I know them. I'm sending it to Trancas, and I'm sending it to Jamie, and I'll get their approvals, and you'll be on the emails, but I can't wait for you guys to do all of that. I will do it. So nice. I was just like, boom. And then the last piece of the puzzle was Universal. Now, we work well with Universal, but this was another person via Miramax. So we had to wait on Miramax to get that approval, but I just took it upon myself to be like, look, I need to go to these people directly because we don't have time. We are literally so pressed for time.
So that you can put the pre-orders up, right?
What's that?
So that you could put the pre-orders and the images up eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And I told them and listen, everyone at Miramax was great. It was just a matter of timing. Mm-hmm. And so it was really like, I just had to just take the ball and be like, I'm going to do most of this legwork because we got to get going here. And I told them our plans. It was just like the last 2, put them up. I'm like, the movie might come out on October 14th. We need to have these out on September 1st. You don't understand. Like, we cannot release them. We don't have a month and a half. We have like a week, Right. And again, thank the Lord above or whatever, knock on wood that it worked out, especially for these last 3 movies. And this one, we stuck the landing because we were able to get them out on time, on our time schedule, because we don't know how many to print. We could, sell 100. We could sell, 1,000 or 2,000 or 5. I mean, we sold a crap ton of these, which was incredible. People came out in droves, and, we had that pre-order up so we could satisfy the demand for the movie. And then we get them printed. And then unfortunately we ran into some production issues with Osborne's design. They were a little dark. They needed to be all reprinted, and that was the largest run, and they had to be completely redone.
And which one was that one? Which shirt was that?
That was Osborne's. The main one was with Lori.
So how does that feel when it comes out of the printer and it's just not what it's supposed to be?
It doesn't feel good because we were on schedule, and the people that do all the shipping, Heather and Jess and Eric, like they were on. I mean, they are speedy, and they want to get this stuff done. And they were like, okay, we're getting the shirts today. We'd already gotten some orders out because we got some other designs. This is the big one. I mean, the other ones are really big, but this is the big one. Plus people were ordering multiples of this and the other designs. So you've got big orders, and we get them, and it's like
be gut wrenching, man.
They just don't look right. And luckily we work so closely with our printers, and they're right down the street. They're 2 miles away. So I ran over to the print shop. We looked at them. They agreed this wasn't right. They have to redo all of these, which again, great.
About how many?
Thousands.
Oh, wow.
Like, we're not talking a few hundred. We're talking thousands.
Oh, this is big business here. Fright-Rags is big business.
Well, this was a big order. So they had to redo it. We lost a week. And so now...
Really? You were set back a whole week?
Well, because you have to get them, you have to order the inventory, you have to print them, you have to finish them, fold them, all that stuff. We have to get them. We have to start shipping. So it's a week gone. And within a few days after that, we started shipping the pre-orders. We were going to re-release them in stock. So we should have been done filling pre-orders by the time we released them in stock, but we weren't. So those orders were going to get pushed back. Luckily, 99% of the people got them in time. The only people that didn't, most that I know of, because they kicked ass, so much ass getting these out, were international customers. But again, we can't guarantee international anyway. We never did, even with the pre-orders, because even if we ship them on time, you can never tell how long it's going to take to get to the UK or even Canada.
Right.
So we never guaranteed that. But I did feel bad because it would have given them a few extra days to get it. But most people got it. And then there were a few disappointed people, which sucks. I hate that. But given the amount of orders we had to fill and the mishap, I think it was pretty much, we got through it as best as we could. So I'll tell you, it's wild, man. It's a wild ride.
Well, if there's another reason to love Fright-Rags, if you're not already sold and you don't got a shirt already, here's another reason, because every time there's a Halloween movie, they got the shirts out. You're going to have your shirt before the movie comes out. So you're going to get ready to go to the theater or watch it on Peacock with your shirt, which is, you got to commend you guys for that. That's amazing.
Hey man, we try. We honestly, we do everything we can. Everything we can to get it to people because we know we get it. Like I want the shirt too. I wore it to the movie too. Like I understand people don't want it a day later. They want it when they see the movie.
So, question before we get into the actual movie. So you said you get to final images in July. So how does it actually work? Do they come to you? Who comes to you, and are they like, we want you to make the Halloween End stuff? Do you go to them? How does it actually work getting the shirt from the studio?
So we had Halloween Ends when we got Halloween Kills because they had announced 2 movies already. As soon as Halloween 2018 did as good as it did and they announced the next 2, like, oh, we're doing 2 more, we were already in with Miramax to say, we want those 2, let's sign a deal. Okay. And in fact, because that was pre-COVID, our deal was set to expire last year when Halloween Ends was supposed to come out. Right. So they extended it for us and everything. Because remember, we lost a year because of COVID with Kills, not coming out in 2020, it came out in 2021. So Ends was supposed to come out last year. So our original contract actually had those dates in there. And so we had Ends as long as we've had Kills, and we had to keep extending it because the movie wasn't out yet. So we're like, we can't make shirts for a movie that's not out yet. But everyone's been great about that. So there's no issues there. So we were already waiting. So we knew the movie was being shot in January, or it was like January, February. And I was, getting some updates from people, but I didn't have, here's the other thing. People, like even from the set, they can send me images all day or whatever. But if they're not approved by Universal,
you can't just print them on a shirt. Looking for a lawsuit there, buddy.
Right. And I'm not saying people were sending me images. I'm just saying we couldn't get a jump on anything because any image that we used on a shirt had to be, even before the design, that exact image had to be approved. That photo had to be approved by a studio.
Right.
For example, a little tangent, Rob Zombie's Monsters. He was sending us images that he took.
Oh, that's
we
sick.
Still couldn't use them until Universal approved them, even though Rob Zombie sent them to us. Wasn't an assistant or somebody else on set. Rob was sending them to us, and we still couldn't use them until they got approved.
Yeah.
So it's a process. It can take long because again, a lot of these people, some people at studios don't understand like what we're going through, and they also just don't get that, and they don't necessarily need to get that end of the business, but you have to like get them to try to understand where we're coming from and why we need it and when we need it. So we got those images, like I said, we got the final ones in late July, early August. We were able to look at them in early July, but they were thumbnails and they had watermarks all over them. And we couldn't, it's fine because you can sift through them, but I'm like, I need high res and,